And he said, so Sushmita, tomorrow morning you're going to be fired. And I said, no, tomorrow morning I resign. And I was 19, imagine.
Right.
I was just 19. They came to him to ask, at the coronation ball, do we put former Miss Universe? And he immediately looked at me and said, object to that. So I said, I object.
Your Honor.
I object. So he said, once a Miss Universe, always a Miss Universe. Why? Because you have a dedicated year of victory. So you never say former Miss Universe, you say Miss Universe 1994 or 2005 or,
Right.
You take the year and
So that was 1994. This is 2023. Another reason why we don't need an introduction for you is because nobody in India needs to be introduced to Sushmita Sen since 1994, right?
What a privilege,
What
right?
did happen though, and just to let the audience know exactly when this conversation is taking place, it's the night before Arya, which is the third season of Arya drops online. And that's when we saw you on the screen after many, many years, Sushmita.
Can you believe? Yeah.
I remember like the moment, I think your opening scene in Arya, that is 2020, is when you are, I think, tangled.
Yes.
And you're in the rope
The
doing gymnastics, right?
Yes,
And I'm like,
gymnastic rings.
oh man, we haven't seen her in very long. Then of course your husband shows up on the screen. That's Chandrachud Singh, who we
Yes.
hadn't seen in a while as well.
But, yes.
To a point where I thought that was Shashi Tharoor. I said, did they get Shashi Tharoor to play this part? Because it looked quite similar.
I saw the memes that followed after, but it was really my world upside down.
And are there multiple reasons why you were away from the screen?
Yeah. I was bored. I was not doing anything different. I was not growing as an actor or as a person. Because you see, when you spend 6 months to a year on a film doing nothing, those 6 months and a year never come back. They're gone from your life.
Right.
And as an actor, which I have now come to realize even more so, that if you don't go and observe life, participate in it, you don't become a better actor. It's kind of like a catch-22. You need to spend time outside of that art to imitate art.
So you were bored of the stuff that was being given to you? Like,
Absolutely.
Like, say, your last Bollywood film before Arya would be, say, a
No Problem.
No Problem?
Yeah.
Or a Dulha Mil Gaya, and there's a whole lot of them.
No Problem was the last one.
That's when you said, I have a problem here?
Yeah,
Solve this?
I said that's when I stopped saying no problem. I say no, we got to face the problem, and the problem is this is not working, and I had just become a mother again. And Alisa was even younger than Renee when I adopted her. And
How old was she?
She was a month old.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
so even I had to learn how to be a mother to a month-old baby.
How old
because
was Rennie when?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
She was 6 months. And from a month to 6 months is a big difference
Right.
in the way that you nurture a child. And I was like, I can't leave her with her nanny and be doing something I don't like. I love this. So let me do this, right by something. And of course, I did have my then manager and people from the industry, friends, who said, this is harakiri. You're making a very big blunder. This is the prime of age and whatever as an actor. You don't quit at this point. I'm not quitting. I'm just
Taking a
taking
break,
I'm taking who takes a break? It's a very male-driven industry as it is. So you have only that much time to look your best. And I said, you're probably right, but inside there's a voice that's saying, no, don't do it. And I have to listen to that voice because it has worked for me my whole life. I am where I am because of that voice. I cannot not listen to it. So I took a break, and that break just continued because the scripts that were coming, they also dried up, obviously, because you're not visible in a very visible.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. तो वो भी आने बंद हो गए. But I started seeing a life grow in front of me,
Okay.
Alisa, and turn out to be a beautiful human being. And I was a hands-on mom. During this time, though, I do have bills to pay, and I am a single mom. So we did have Renee Jewelers, which is a jewelry brand that we have all over the Middle East. We're in Dubai, we're in Bahrain, we're in Doha, Kuwait. So we were looking into that. And meanwhile, I was doing some endorsements, and the Miss Universe organization called me and said, would you like to take the franchise?
Right.
I was like, what? Really? Like, that's a dream. It's a payback of sorts. So I said, yeah, what does it entail? Because I had never had direct relationships with vendors before. As the star.
Right.
Everybody does everything around me, and I don't even have like anyone's number.
We can see that.
Yeah, no. And so I got grounded, and I realized how to deal with people. Because I signed a pretty intense contract when I took on this franchise.
Right.
And it was owned at that point by Donald Trump, which didn't make it easy or fun.
So Donald Trump was your boss?
No.
At some point in your life?
No.
Okay.
Luckily, the only people who were my boss were Paramount Communication and Madison Square Garden, because they owned Miss Universe when I was an employee of Miss Universe for a year as a franchise owner for Donald Trump. And
Did you meet him ever?
yeah, because we had association in terms of the... Doesn't matter, point being...
I like how you completely change the subject.
Yeah,
Doesn't
because-
matter.
Yeah, because I couldn't have said it more sharply, it doesn't matter. There are some people that leave an impression because of their achievements necessarily, or their sense of power. It's just the people that they are, that you take from them inspiration or something that helps you move forward.
Right.
He's not one of them, so
Sure,
doesn't
fair
matter.
enough, yeah.
So, at that point, I took over 2010. I took over the franchise. We did train. I called it I Am She, and we trained 30 women in the first year, and then 25 and 25. So a big lot of young women with great potential. And by 2012, I realized I loved the process of sending girls from India, but I didn't like the people I was working with. So
Okay.
I dropped the franchise in 2012. And at this point, my daughter is growing up, and I have already been very busy doing other stuff except cinema and
Right.
acting and
What you do.
what I do, or I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then my daughter turns 8, Alisa. And one day she meets some paps under the house, and she says, Ma, why do they take pictures with you? So I said, because, I'm kind of famous. So she goes, doing what? Oh, Mom, that's true. Then I'm also an actor, but you don't act. You don't do movies. I said, because I'm sitting here with you, I wanted to be with you. She says, no, you just don't do it, Mom. I don't need you. I will never
They've
forget.
obviously seen your films from before, right? I
Yeah.
They know exactly what you've done.
Yeah, and they
on
didn't like it
screen.
very much
Okay.
also. Which was also, see, this is the thing about my children. They are a grounding factor. They just totally like...
They're not starstruck.
No. In fact, they're biggest critics of every little thing. They're very proud of the person I am, but they're not always very proud of the work I do,
Right.
which is absolutely fair. When I saw her face, I realized that the time had come. I had delivered an individual who has a mind of her own and is telling me off. And is saying, get off your inertia, break it, and just go back to what you're supposed to do. Don't make an excuse out of me. I don't need you. I called up the head of Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hotstar and the whole gang at that point. I will never forget how amazing that experience was, Mayank. Because I was jobless. I was without any experience in the last 8 years, which is a long span of time in a limited...
And the world had changed.
The world had changed dramatically. OTT had showed up.
Yeah.
And I was watching OTT. I was loving the content on it. And I was still watching Hindi films, and I was like, well, women still don't have anything to do in it. Off and on, there is still a woman-centric, that it is still gender biased to the extent that it is distributor kitna dega, कितने होर्डिंग्स लगेंगे, मार्केटिंग का क्या बजट होगा, कि नहीं इतने में नहीं बन सकती. You're still thinking about that. And then I'm seeing content-driven material. And so I was like, this is interesting. So I made the call myself. And I said, my name is Sushmita Sen. I'm an actor, used to be one anyway. And I'd like to come back to work. And I would need help because I haven't worked for 8 years.
That's quite humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but I knew that I wanted to do it this way, no other way. Nobody makes those calls. I needed to make that call because I wanted them to know I'm hungry. I want to do this. And so, can I have a meeting, and I want to see what my scope is. Surprisingly, all 3 platforms, the highest of the orders, came and had this meeting. And I discussed with them what I wanted, and their jaw hit the floor. And they were, okay. I said, oh, I want workshops, I want to learn, I want to unlearn, and I want to headline a show. I want responsibility. I don't want to just be a character. I need a conflict so powerful that it's author-backed. So they're all looking at me like, gotta give it to her. Like, she's been out of a job. She comes back and she says, I want this, 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 this. Kind of, I had learnt by then that, you know, you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. You just don't get it because maybe it's not the right time, maybe because someone said, mat mango, ye koi time nahi hai, pehle kuch kar lo, uske baad mangna. I said, no, I'll come back and I'll give it everything, but this is what I want. I was very pleasantly surprised.
With what you got. I mean, there's
I got, Arya came last actually.
Okay.
What
Did
they
Tali
brought.
come before?
No, Tali came much later.
Right.
I got some BAFTA winning scripts that came to me from another platform. There was a lot of to and fro, and something did not marry, because the thing that my first innings had taught me is don't get carried away when you look at a script and say, kya film hai? Kya banegi? Kya dialogue hai? Kitna emotional conflict hai? Don't get into that. Because jo words mein hai, unko screen pe lane ke liye, who's the team? Focus on the team. This time I did. And finally, I will remember this call from Shogoto. He was heading Hotstar at that point.
Who's a Sony Live now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Right.
And so he called me and he said, okay, now I think I know what you want. Because we had already discussed another show and I turned it down. And then he said, try and turn me down this time. That was the confidence. And I was like, okay, where, with who? I'm not telling you anything. Let me surprise you. 4 o'clock today, can we make it happen? I go, okay. 4 o'clock, I show up at BKC at this meeting point, and I walk in and I'm introduced to Ram Madhvani. And I'm just like, hi. I'd
You've seen his works.
Of course I had seen his work, and I'd been watching everyone's work at that point. And so I walked in and I go, my God, hi. And I met Amita, hi, you're making this? What are you making? And he says, it's like a female Michael Corleone of Godfather. I literally took a seat, took 5 minutes, and said, I'm doing it. My lawyer, who had come with me for the meeting, she's nail marks on my thighs. Huh? Like, don't do that.
Don't commit so quickly.
Yeah, we haven't, like, no terms are confirmed, nothing. Don't say yes in 5 minutes. I was so excited. I knew on a cellular level, this is what I was waiting for. This is it. Mr. Madhvani to this day jokes about it. He said, I told Amita, she's either a fantastic actress or she's going to go back out and say, a manager will call and say, no, actually, she thought it through. She doesn't really want to do it. Aisa kuch hoga. But no, I knew. And I told Priyanka, I said, my lawyer, I said, I'm doing this. Now, you figure the rest out.
Right.
This I'm doing. And that was it. I went back to it like a student. I sat for 14 hours every day for 21 days, that magical number of workshops. I was like this furniture. Sare actors aa rahe hain, apni lines kar rahe hain mere saath, chale ja rahe hain, main wahi hu. I became like this person who became the nuclei of this process.
Right.
And from there started the process of unlearning and starting to learn again and loving every moment of it, waking up every morning with excitement like a newbie, like I have this job to do.
Would it be the same for Tali that, if I'm not mistaken, you spent 6 months prepping for that role? I mean, terrific performance, I have to say.
Thank you, Maya.
I mean, this was a very tough role, I'm pretty sure,
it is.
for you. And I mean, the only criticism that you would have probably got, but that's at a very macro level, is could someone from that gender play that role?
Yeah, which is a very fair question.
Right.
It's a very fair question. And honestly, we knew when we were making Tali that there will be a big lashing out on many levels. But I went with the conviction that I was not okay with Tali till I heard Gauri Sawant wants me.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, so that's what it took us a while, and that's when my meeting with her happened. Once she said, मैंने तो साफ बोला था जाके बोलो उनको, let her say no. but I want you to ask her. Because obviously the rest of the crew were like, how can I go to her and ask her to play this, you know?
Miss Universe, for God's sake.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they have all these preconceived notions. And if you had asked me, would you do a tali? It never even crossed my mind. Because I would never imagine playing this role. Nobody would think of me. And she did. And she said, no, I want you to go and ask her. Let her say no. That's when I knew that now whatever the backlash, it is her story. She wants me to portray her. My conviction is locked. Now how do I get it right? So I spent time with her. She's a very open and a very vivacious person. And someone who is spitfire strong, you know.
And shows on screen.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's who you are on.
Yeah, in fact, I might have underplayed her.
Right.
If you see her in real life, she's amazing. So that's when the work started. And yeah, it was challenging, but it was also very important to me that when Gauri Sawant watches it, she says, it's justified. What I went through, because I know for a fact Gauri's story will not be told again. I cannot get this wrong.
Right.
After she asked for me. Marbalchi Murti, she calls me, and that is like the funniest Marathi explanation I've had describing me. But she said that I want you to play me because I want my life to be beautiful. Because everything about it has been spelled out to be ugly for so long. And I was like, dude, when they started putting the beard and the mustache came in, the sideburns came in, my face started to transform. I cannot tell you, Mayanka, for the first time in my life, I realized that I was beautiful. That I could do that.
Especially the younger part when you are
Ganesh.
That's crazy. I mean
Yeah.
that's such a beautiful transformation. I mean, you're talking about learning.
Yeah.
I'm actually more interested in your own learning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a world you inhabited,
Yeah.
you belonged to
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
What was that world like, and how is it very different from what you're inhabiting
Well,
now?
thank God for that world back then.
Okay.
Because I would not have been an actor if that world didn't exist then.
Interesting, you said
Yeah.
that. Because you did Dastak, of course,
Yeah.
and that was your first film, and
That was supposed to be my only film.
your only film.
Yeah, I was not supposed to be an actor. I never wanted to be an actor.
You'd never even done like inter-school dramatics and stuff.
Nothing.
That's
not
crazy.
Dur tak in my family, there's no one in the film industry. There's nobody. Like my father wanted me to be an IS officer, so I was studying accordingly. Like when the bomb was dropped on my dad that she is going to enter Miss India, my father didn't speak to me for a bit because it was like a crashing down of. And I remember having this very emotional moment with my father where I promised him, I said, Baba, I have to wear a swimsuit. It is a part of the show. I cannot not wear it. But I promise you, I will add respect to it. It will not be chablami in Bengali, as we say.
Chablami.
Yeah. It will not be...
Vulgar, is that what it means?
Not
Okay, crass.
It won't be crass.
Right.
It won't be crass. I will do it as dignified. But Baba, I can't compete in a competition where everyone does one thing and I don't do it. Then there's no way to compete. So he was not very happy with that. But when I won Miss India and I told my father that I will represent my country, Baba, father being a defense personnel, he had bawled his lungs out. Like, I remember looking at my dad's face and thinking, suddenly, I had given him the biggest moment of his life, being a daughter that he always believed in. Okay, I'm going to need a tissue paper, please. Thank you, darling. Thank you. So, that was a moment where I knew that my father was okay. Now came the Miss Universe. I know for a fact that, because we came from a middle class family, so my mother and my brother, they could afford to fly, then my father could not afford to fly, so he watched it with that delayed telecast of 1 hour, whatever used to happen in the 90s.
With the rest of India.
The rest of India.
Yeah.
So I've actually won.
Huh.
But my father
Doesn't know that yet.
doesn't know that. So
Right.
he's still watching it like abhi hone wala hai types. When they announced India as the winner, we had made history because we had never won Miss
course.
Universe. And we had made history with also one 18-year-old lanky kid who never thought that that's what would be that
It's
moment.
incredible, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't imagine it. There are 40,000 people live in that convention center in Manila, in Philippines, and all the Filipinos have gotten up, and in Tagalog, they are telling my mother, they know where she's seated, she won Miss Universe. I had not won yet, but the essence of a woman question had just been answered, and my mother is trying to tell them, please make way. I can't see my daughter because she's trying to see from there on the stage. She missed me winning Miss India. She missed the moment where I won Miss Universe because all the Filipinos had
because they
covered her.
knew that you nailed it.
I can't explain to you, other than India, Philippines is like my second home.
Okay.
The people there love me so much that you have now 22-year-old, 23-year-old girls called Sushmita Chagalung Mang.
That's amazing.
Sushmita Sen Chagalung Mang. You have, this name is a Filipino name now.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just did an interview with Jessica Soho, who is like a very, very respected anchor with her own show. She's like the Oprah of the Philippines. And she brought them out, some of them, from different islands of the Philippines to make me meet them, that they're all named after you.
That's amazing.
I had
That is
goosebumps.
crazy. Is this online? Can we
Yeah,
see
yeah,
this
of
on
course.
YouTube?
Just Google Jessica
Will
Soho,
do, yeah.
Sushmita Sen interview. You'll
That's
see it.
nuts. That's nuts.
And it was heartbreaking because I left that in Manila, and in 1994, I went back in 2016 to judge Miss Universe. Life came a full circle. When they announced my presence there, I had to be given presidential security because of the amount of people.
Damn.
People in the Philippines. Like, I can't tell you, these are things that my father, my mother, God bless them, they got to witness in their lifetime. Is a huge achievement.
That's an Alice in Wonderland story, isn't it?
It
When
is.
You just like enter this,
It is.
and it would then thereafter also move on to Bombay. Yes. Did you feel like, you enter this world, you come back from Manila, literally everyone in India knows you, everyone in the movie industry knows you.
I never came back from Manila. I was flown from Manila after winning to Los Angeles. Then I lived in Los Angeles for 3 years.
Okay.
1 year as Miss Universe,
Okay.
and 2 more years because I was modeling there.
Ah.
So I was doing runway and this.
So your life was going to be there.
Not
in some ways.
necessarily, but my financial independence at that point was there. So I was working there, I had an apartment there, I lived there. So Bhatt Saab called me.
Mahesh Bhatt.
Yeah. First Mukesh Bhatt called, and then Bhatt Saab called me, Mahesh Bhatt, and said, I hear you are in Delhi. We are in Delhi. I'd come to meet my family
Right.
who are in Delhi. बस एक meeting करनी है. So I said to Bhatt Saab, I hope it's not for a film because I don't want to be an actor.
You were sure about that?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I was like, नहीं वो मैंने लाइफ में एक्टिंग की नहीं है, मुझे आती नहीं है, मैं
करनी भी नहीं है।
हाँ, और मुझे ना झूठ बोलना नहीं आता है, तो वो दिखेगा, तो मुझे नहीं आता. So he said, नहीं इतनी दूर की नहीं सोचते, one can't have a cup of coffee with you. So I was like, of course, Bhatt Saab, I'd be honored. So maha excited, I told my mama, Mahesh Bhatt called me, Mama, he wants to have coffee with me. He's like, you must meet. I said, I'm meeting, but Ma, no acting dreams and all. No, just meet. She was maha excited that I was going to meet him. Then I met Bhatt Saab and we had this conversation, and he said to me, you don't have to act. You have to play Sushmita Sen.
Which is
And
what
there is a
Dastak
stalker.
is.
That
Right.
is what Dastak is. There's a stalker, there's lovely music, lovely this, that. I said, just don't do any more films, just do this one. I know you need to do this one. I said, Bhatt Saab, I cannot act. So he said, मैंने कब कहा तुम अच्छी actress हो? I'm telling you, I'm a damn good director.
That's very Mahesh Bhatt, I have to say.
Yeah. But I must tell you, I owe him my career.
Right, of course.
Because he believed, I don't know why he believed, but he asked me to do it, and after 2-3 trips back and forth from LA, I finally said, yes, I'll do it. Because Bhatt Saab was not taking no for an answer. They were giving me everything on a platter, which in this industry is a difficult way to enter. You don't get that. So it was like, how difficult is it? Bhai, ek film mein karke chhod do. You don't like it, don't do it. So I started Dastak.
Shot in Seychelles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
The
a
first,
big portion of it is
yeah.
shot in. Then we've shot in Switzerland, Seychelles.
That's a
and
big film,
It's
yeah.
a big film. But he didn't do any workshops with me. There was no acting coach, nothing. I was just made to look good and brought for the Muhurat shot, straight. अब Muhurat shot में जो dialogues मेरे को दिए गए थे, वो मैं रट के आई थी. भट्ट साहब ने सुबह सुबह मेरे को दूसरा शीट दे दिया. और कहा नहीं वो चेंज हो गया है, ये करो. Now, ये करो is a full scene.
Was he testing you?
Yes.
Oh.
Ye Karo is a full scene, a morgue, a man in charge of the morgue eating lunch in front of a dead body, and you've come to collect a dead body of a friend. Itna depth, then I am 22 years old. Like I have
Never acted before.
Never acted before, and he's changed it last minute. But sahab nahi hoga, but sahab nahi hoga. Then I step out of the van and I see 40 media people invited by Bhatt sahab. आके देखो, Miss Universe का Muhurat shot है. So pressure. And we had a showdown. And this is where Bhatt Saab is Bhatt Saab. ये shot करते वक्त मैंने कान के earrings ऐसे निकाल के फेंकने थे towards the morgue. रखो, खुल नहीं रहा है. ये भी रखो is happening because I don't understand aggression. I've just spent 2 years of my life being trained by some of the biggest teachers in the world how to be a lady. As Miss Universe,
Right.
that was the training, and now he's asking me to let loose and break down, and नहीं हो रहा है. एक टेक हुआ, 2 टेक हुआ, 3 टेक, and media खड़ी है वहाँ पे, हाँ, और ये नहीं हो रहा है. So finally I just go, भट्ट साहब नहीं हो रहा है. किसको लेके आए? भट्ट साहब से.
Oh my God.
किसको लेके आए मुकेश? इसको कुछ नहीं आता है यार. You know, like he yelled out like that.
In front of everyone.
Everyone, and so I got angry, and I turned around and said, I told you, Bhatt Saab, mujhse ye nahi hoga. I'm done. Don't insult me in front of people. And I was about to walk off, and he holds my hand very dramatically. It says, that is gussa. Go and show it in the take. And then I looked at him like, what? This was all acting? Then I realized वो media के सारे junior artists खड़े हैं.
Oh.
हाँ,
Oh,
कैमरा
wow.
लेके. सब, there's nobody from the media there. This is all a play.
It's actually not even a Muhurat shot.
No.
Damn.
And then I went and gave that shot really angry and all of that, and Bhatt Saab said, cut, okay, let's start the film.
That's amazing.
And everything you see in Dastak has been shot in one take. Everything has been like one take. Because he realized, raw hai, इसे दोबारा कराएंगे ये mechanical हो रही है. Let's try to get it in the first take. So Bhatt Saab, I owe my career to.
So there is that world you move into, which is show business. I'm pretty sure you watched movies growing up, right? You did.
My first movie was Satte Pe Satta.
There you go, Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah.
Right?
And apparently I was in my mummy's tummy when she watched all of Amitabh Bachchan films.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because somebody's told me how you first met Amitabh Bachchan. And it's a really funny story, but it's impossible to verify this. Okay. And I can only verify with you. Was it actually in the loo once? That you were dying to pee and you went to the men's loo and there was Amitabh Bachchan there. Do you remember this?
Well, if it had happened, I would probably remember it. But no.
No.
But something has happened in the loo with someone else.
Oh, was it someone else then?
Yeah. But not Mr.
Because you were
Bachchan.
dying and so you entered the men's loo
Yeah.
and everyone like, whoa, that's Sushmita Sen inside the loo.
Lucky them.
Lucky them.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that must have been a serious nature's call, but it didn't happen with Mr. Bachchan, no.
There's one thing that's common to you in terms of a Bollywood star at this point, even when you've just started,
Yeah.
is that there is something about Bengali women in Bollywood, right? From a Rakhi,
Yes.
right from a Sharmila Tagore, down to a Rani Mukherjee, to a Kajol, so many of them. I was having this conversation with Prasenjit Chatterjee.
Yes.
I love him, and he's a fantastic actor. But you know, the point is this: the equivalent of a Bengali superstar, who's obviously in Bollywood, is actually a Punjabi male. The equivalent of Sushmita Sen is not a Bengali man. Is usually a Salman Khan or a Shah Rukh Khan. All these people you work with. Why do you think that's so? Is it just the luck of the genetic draw that so many Bengali heroines have been there, but not so many Bengali men who've been heroes?
Very interesting. I'll have to think about this one. I just think that with due respect to all Bengali men, the women are something else.
Right.
The Bengali women are something else.
The second one that you had in common with a lot of people who are Bollywood heroines is the number of them who are army daughters.
That's true.
Right?
That's
It's
true.
incredible.
Yeah.
Priyanka Chopra, Lara Datta, Anushka Sharma. Why do you think that is so?
I think if you're going to be an outsider, entering and making it in the film industry, so to speak, you have to have the qualities that we are raised with. Our fathers are posted every 3 years. हमारे दोस्त बदल जाते हैं. We have to adapt to new schools, new environment. Uncle, aunties around us change. Our Air Force messes change. Our entire system changes. We are used to doing math on our fingers. We're very grounded kids. We're very disciplined in the way we are raised. So if you put us in a hard spot and ask us to really rough it out, we're damn good at it. Service kids. And we adapt very well to changing situations. This is why I feel other people also try, but these kids do well.
But Sushmita, also, like, say a cantonment, or in your father's case, an Air Force station, they will all be in small towns. But
Not
this is
necessarily.
I mean, it can be wherever, but that world is very insulated from the rest of the city, right?
You know, you guys are civilians. That must be carefully watched. We are the officers' children, of course.
So is there more freedom to the women, because which would not be as true for the, let's say if your parents are posted in Ambala, the rest of Ambala, the kind of freedom that women would have on the street would not be the same as inside a cantonment or inside an Air Force station. Is there a lot more freedom, and that really helps you sort of develop a certain fearlessness to deal with a world which is, well, kind of different?
It's a very good observation. I'm sure there must be some factor contributing to that. I've never thought about that. But in fact, I've thought about it the other way, that you have a very protective upbringing. Unlike outside, where your parents are always worried sick, where
Right, like,
you are, what's happening.
curfew hours and stuff like that.
Yeah, true. But I think what actually makes them so fearless is the fact that you have to be a defense personnel, Navy, Air Force, Army, doesn't matter.
Services, yes.
Services child to know that you wake up every day to a hero in your house. There is a sense of, like, to this day, you could be playing China's national anthem, Japan's, US, India, doesn't matter. In our home, we stand up for everybody's national anthem. To this day. My kids do too. They are made to stand up. Apni maa ki izzat, auron ki maa ki izzat. Very important. This, if you're raised in that environment, so you're waking up to him every day, he's in his uniform, he's protecting your country, and you are fearless. You are born with that, in that environment.
Right. You were obviously in school when all this happened to you, and if I'm not mistaken, you were in Air Force Golden Jubilee Institute.
Later.
Much
so
later.
Ninth, say.
Right.
From 9th grade. Before that, I was only in Kendra Vidyalaya. Across.
Wherever your dad was
places,
posted.
Wherever dad was posted, there was always a KV, and I was doing Ganit instead of math.
So when you were, I have to say this to you, because I was for a few years in the school that's right next door to AFGGI, which is the Air Force School, which is also in Silverton Park.
Very naughty school. Ours was much nicer, very well behaved compared to TAFs.
TAFs. And a lot of times.
Are you from TAFs?
I was there for a few years.
Okay, now this interview is over.
This conversation ends now.
It's over because I know now.
Well, I had the most amazing things to say about AFGGI, because we used to also share bus.
Yes, that's right.
We used to share the same bus.
Yes.
The same bus would drop kids from AFGGI and also come to our school.
And in that bus, only the AFGGI students would be present, because the TAFs were bunking. So their seats were always empty. Just letting everybody know.
Well, that's why you became Miss Universe. I'm just interviewing you. But what is beautiful about that school, Sushmita, I distinctly remember is, one, it had classes merging. So there could be airmen's kids, and there could be officers' kids. There would be civilians' kids, obviously, that's one. Second, that particular school, I mean, they call it the mental wing, which I think is a pretty insensitive name.
I'm glad you're bringing that out.
But there were special children in that school, and as students, you got to interact with them. Was that?
In fact, in our school, AFJGI, we had the special wings for the special need children. We could not pass a grade without what you call community service now, we had to do sports day section where you would run with the wheelchair and you would have to run a race and win with the participant who was a special needs child.
Right.
We were graded not out of 10 for this. We were graded out of 25 out of 100. So we were taught from a very early age कि ये हमसे अलग नहीं है, इनके बगैर हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते. Do you understand that?
I get it, yes.
That sense. I'm so glad you remember this because it had a huge impact on a lot of us. A lot of us. We lost our 100-meter sprints. We were okay with that. कि अगली बार जीत जाएंगे, no problem. But if we lost with our participating student, that was heartbreaking for them, so it was heartbreaking for us.
Right.
That was a very beautiful school to go to. And 9th through 12th, I studied there. 10th, I topped my school in sciences. So Batra sir said, she has to take sciences, she has to take sciences. And my mother's like, she must and all, and I took arts because I didn't want to study so much. I was very creative always, I did not want to put, but if I had taken sciences, nothing that I've done, it's almost like your destiny prepares you, you know. You don't know where you're going with it. But I didn't take it, and so right after 12th, Daddy and I stood outside LSR and stood outside. I wanted St. Stephen's. I wanted to do eco honors, but my grades.
Oh, that's what I did, by the way.
Oh, you did? You went to St. Stephen's?
Eco.
And St. Stephen's?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Now respect, has the respect returned, my friend. Thank you very much.
Now can I return the respect the other side? The other side, I went St. Stephen's, stood in line, and then I did not have the cutout percentage. He obviously did. So I told my father, no, I wanted St. Stephen's. Koi baat nahi beta, we'll try the other college. You have to get an education from somewhere. So this is happening. Hum line mein khade hain abhi. And my father knew I was heartbroken about St. Stephen's. So he was trying other things. In this interim, between the line and going to a nightclub, someone scouted me and said, you should enter Miss India.
Amazing.
And that was Ranjan Bakshi of Times of India. And I thought he was just drunk at a bar, you know, like, hey, what? Me? Miss India? No. Because I was this lanky, tall, thin thing that, you know, beautiful I never thought of myself as. So I was like, Miss India and all. So I went to my friends in the nightclub and said, you have to save me from him. Because he is saying weird things to me.
Like a Delhi uncle.
Yeah, exactly. And so Ranjan Bakshi realized that she's not taking me seriously. So he showed up again, this time with my friends there, and pulled out a business card and said, I'm Ranjan Bakshi from Times of India, come and see me in the office tomorrow. So they are like, and my friends, Delhi. Abhi batata. And then he goes, oh, sir, yes, of course, we'll take it. Because we realized he's really from the Times of India. And that's how the rest of the story happened. So I never did go to a college and graduate, which was a big problem for my father. Because he always said, beta, do whatever, just have a degree, something.
That was the thing for that generation, right?
Also,
they believed college to karna hi chahiye.
No, but wo mere bhi problem hai. I made Rene also get her degree. This was my only condition. Like, ये होना चाहिए कि जो करना है लाइफ में करो, but degree हाथ में होना चाहिए ताकि कल को अगर आपको कोई कहे ये काम नहीं करोगी तो क्या कर लोगी? बहुत कुछ है करने को. You never have to take that as, so I'm also old school like that.
Right.
So anyway, that degree never happened. So I told Baba, I'll graduate in life. My famous words to him, just don't give up on me yet. So recently when I was honored with the D.Lit, my father went to receive it. Again, another day when I have sobbed.
Like you got an honorary doctorate.
An honorary doctorate.
Wow.
Yes.
That is incredible.
Yeah, and I was sick as a dog that day, so my father went to receive it, and how aptly he received it from Mr. Narayan Murthy.
Wow, where was this?
Kolkata.
Amazing. That's phenomenal. While kids like us, we were just looking at Sushmita Sen and, you know, like just sitting and gossiping about you, right, by the way, when we were kids.
Good gossip?
We would gossip so much because I think there was a monoculture at the time. Like if someone became huge, they were all that we spoke about, right? And Sushmita Sen was as big as it gets. I think we once gossiped about the fact that you had a boyfriend at the time.
So you better believe it.
And once you became Miss Universe, you dumped him. And we thought, you dumped him because she became famous. I don't remember the person name. Rajiv?
No, Rajat.
Rajat
Tara. He's actually one of the nicest. I'm so glad that that was my first boyfriend. Because the generosity of this man to this day, he's a father of a very beautiful little girl. I was his best man at his wedding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. He's married to a Serbian lady, and she is divine because she wanted me there. I mean, just everything about this wedding was special. It took me to Belgrade for the wedding, and a man like that you can't dump. You just outgrow sometimes. And I had outgrown him, and he realized that. And he said to me, तेरे साथ बैठ के तेरे सर पे बैठ के तेरे को इतनी दूर तक लाने का ये मतलब नहीं था कि मेरे साथ फंस जाए अपनी जिंदगी जी ले, you know, like that. So we remain friends, and there is no regrets there. To this day, he's the person I will call no matter where he is in the world, and he will call up and say, "कौन तंग कर रहा है? आऊँ क्या?" So, no. I have been very blessed. I have only.
Was he the guy who picked up the card from Ranjan Bakshi?
Yeah.
He was the same guy?
He was the same guy.
Right.
And he said,
"कौन तंग कर
Miss
रहा है?"
India? ये तो Miss India के लिए चाहिए. And I have to imagine I'm like barely 17 and a half, 18, and Rajat must have been 23. So he's been my rock solid supporter, and I love this man.
On this series right before, and there was a long conversation we had, which actually also pertains to you in some form or the other, in the sense that, you know, I don't know exactly how old Karan is, but, you know, he's single, not married, dating once in a while, and, you know, and very, very famous.
Yes.
Popular in his own right.
Yeah.
And I asked him how difficult it is to date then, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you've been famous since you were 18,
Yes.
and you've never stopped being famous since.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, of course. How difficult is it to date for you?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I'll tell you why. Because you have it's not the problem is not dating. The problem is trying to hide it. उसमें बहुत एनर्जी जाती है और डर बिठा देते हैं, एंड कौन क्या बोलेगा, कहाँ से क्या बोलेगा. I believe that this is none of your business.
Absolutely.
तो आपको आवाज़ उठानी है, चिल्लाना, चिल्लाइए ना. It's not my job to change the world and to say नहीं, आपको ऐसे बात नहीं करनी चाहिए, आप करिए. मुझे सुनना ज़रूरी नहीं है, मुझे रिएक्ट करना भी ज़रूरी नहीं, रिस्पॉन्ड तक करना ज़रूरी नहीं है. I will respond when I want and with who I want. There are only times in my life, and I believe कि मुझे इस रिश्ते को इज्जत देनी है, तो I bring it out. मैंने इज्जत दे दी, आपकी इज्जत के लिए वेट नहीं करेंगे. It was necessary for me. I did it.
No, what I meant was, do they feel intimidated by a Sushmita Sen if you go on a
Oh, it's a
random date?
dating intimidation
Yeah.
wise. I think that was a problem I did face at some point, but never in a way that, how to put it, the minute I see a man intimidated by me, I don't like him anymore.
You don't stop liking them.
I
right?
don't like
Yeah.
them because they lack security. But if you're going to love a woman like me, you have to love yourself. It's like it has to be someone who is happy to do that for me, and not to tie me back, hold me back, tie me down and say, मुझे ये अच्छा नहीं लगा. I don't like that and I don't like this. I don't know. मुझे मेरी आज़ादी बहुत पसंद है, and which is why I encourage that in other people. I tell them, just do your thing.
Right.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Or tie you down.
Yeah, no, even with a man in
Yeah.
a relationship.
Yeah.
I want him to fly. I'd love to give him company when he does that. But I don't want him to tie himself down to me. I don't want to be tied down to him. Because if we are going in the same direction, we each have our own wings. The problem is if we are going in different directions, then it's better to walk away. But if you are going in the same direction.
But regardless of who you meet, Sushmita, and especially if they talk about it, like, for instance, right? And you put it out on X, or what was then called Twitter, that, you know, you guys are together. Firstly, were you going to get married to him?
I never put out anything. So you need to check your facts.
Right.
I just put out one post on Instagram, because sometimes I think when people keep quiet, their silence is mistaken for weakness or fear. I just needed to put out one post to let them know I'm laughing. After that, I was done with it.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, You can't be 47 years old, having lived most of your life in the public eye, and be afraid of the public. You have to love them, like them, not like them. That's fine, it's part of the process. दो बर्तन साथ में रहते हैं, वो आवाज़ करेंगे. और 30-30 साल तक एक साथ रहेंगे तो कभी ना कभी तो आवाज़ होगी. I am one of those people that has been loved so much more than this sort of stuff that ठीक है, I accept it. होता है, सबकी लाइफ में कभी ना कभी ऐसे कनकन होती है. But it in no way defines who I am. So I had to put it out there because I was like, memes बहुत मस्त आ रहे हैं, मज़ा आ रहा है. But क्या है, किसी को अगर आप गोल्ड डिगर बुलाते हो तो उसको मोनेटाइज तो मत करो कम से कम. हाँ, and check your like facts. मुझे गोल्ड नहीं, डायमंड पसंद है. So anyway, stuff like that. So anyway, that was another experience, another phase, and things happen. And if I was going to marry someone, I would be married to them, love. I don't try. I do it or I don't.
On a more serious note,
this was not serious enough?
No, I thought that was fun. I thought that was fun in the sense of someone
was.
writes something and it really is not what you're about. What you're about are two things. One is a scare that we'll speak about right at the end, but the other is the happiness that you brought to the lives of so many millions of Indians by certain choices you made, Sushmita. And that's really like the number of women who were inspired by the fact that you raised two beautiful children. And a lot of people would have adopted, but the point is you actually went to court for both those children to be able to adopt them. That's crazy, right? I mean, how's that turned out?
They're worth the fight. I'll tell you that. They're worth the fight. I think, there's a lot of people in India that I have seen, Mayank, who want to be parents like me. And they have not put conditions of my bone, my blood. They just want to be parents. And it is a very difficult process in India to adopt. So it was wonderful that that is something that came to me naturally, and it allowed me to become a part of a very big class of people.
Like you ended up changing two laws, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't. It was all of us put together.
Right.
But
you were the face of that cause.
Yeah, that helped. Yes, it helped. But there were a lot of people who put time, money, patience, lawyers, everything to make this happen. And God bless the courts of India for finally changing something that needed changing.
And which are these two laws?
So the first one was single mother. So the last example of a single mother was a 29-year-old divorcee. So you always needed a father's name. You can't make a passport in India without it. No legal document. That law changed because I became a mother at 24 and a single mother who was fertile. So lots of other barriers were thing. I still had a problem at the passport office. I went there and they said, "Nahi, पिता का नाम." अरे भैया लिखा है, मैं माँ हूँ, आप वहाँ पे डैश लिख दीजिए ना, यहाँ पे ये डाल दीजिए. नहीं नहीं, ये नहीं होगा. So I went back to the courts and the court sent another letter, which is my favorite letter, to the passport office, which said, you will be held in contempt of court if you do not put the mother's name.
Wow. Wow.
Happiness. You have to understand at 24, you're like...
That's nuts.
I think my judge and the court and the family court, the everything that's happening is like we are jumping timelines. We are moving forward in a way where this was it. And to this day, they have turned out beautifully and their passports read father's name not applicable. No, I'm very glad.
And the second no, I guess, Sushmita, would be the fact that once you've adopted a girl, you cannot adopt a girl again. Was that what it was? And you went to Supreme Court for this?
Yeah, this one we had to take quite a way forward because a lot of parents were trying. Because you see, there are no boys in an orphanage. Even if they are 1%, they get adopted immediately. So there are only girls. And now we cannot, as parents who are willing to adopt, have already adopted, cannot adopt another baby girl. So that defeats the purpose. So that was another thing. It took me 10 years to have my Alisa. It took us 10 years to win that. But we won on the 17th of November. On the 19th of November, which is my birthday, my daughter came home. She was literally waiting to be born. Like it happened
on your birthday, which is coming up.
Which is coming up. It's always been a turning point.
Two beautiful kids, and there's this one thing that happens during the making of Arya, Sushmita.
Yeah.
And that's a health scare, a huge health scare, a heart attack.
Yes.
What was that? I mean, was it like completely sudden or?
Very sudden. You see, both my parents, my mom and dad, they're both heart patients. So it has been me and my brother, every 6 months we check full 2D echoes, we do enzyme testing, we do stress test, because we know that we have it in the family. So yeah, it was very sudden. It came out of nowhere and hit me really hard, because I was in the midst of physically being very active when it happened. And everyone's reaction at that point, including my doctors, was, it can't be the heart. Because we've checked it. Everything was clear.
Yeah.
Straight from there to 95% blockage in the LAD artery. And God's great, I'm telling you, because it was a 45-minute long episode, out of which the last 15 minutes was when I kind of realized that I'm running parallel between life and no life. But when I got out of it, like this, and was rushed, I realized that, oh my God, God has serious plans for me. Because if I'm on this side of it, before the stent, before anything, I'm fine. Somehow, miraculously, that 95 opened up enough for the blood to pass through. And I came and met one of the best surgeons, and he was like joking with me on that OT table while the stent was being put, and we discussed how good looking the heart was and how big the heart was, because for a woman apparently I have huge arteries. And haste khelte, we put the stent, and I have never felt better. It's like it's a new lease to life, and I complete my 47th year with so much that has happened. I have an empty nest. Both my children have now moved into their own lives. My younger daughter, elder one's moved into her own place. My younger one has moved to Switzerland. She's studying there. And I'm learning how to suddenly be jobless where they are concerned. And I'm learning how to now come back to my own. So it's all this and Arya and everything, and this birthday is a turning point. It's a big one.
Sushmita Sen, we look forward to everything that you do from here on. Such a lovely conversation. Thank you for doing this.
You're amazing. You should never do scripted conversations. I insist.
Thank you, Sushmita.
Thank you.